I might die tonight, but if I do, I'ma be okay. And if I die tonight, at least I stood by the stuff I said.
Taxes. One thing that constantly gets brought up is that the rich need to be taxed more and all these different things because it's unfair and they have all this stuff. And I said, okay, the only part that you actually complain about is their income tax. And personally, I think income tax is double taxation anyway. And what I mean by that is, again, if you have $5,000 and it all gets taxed, right, at income tax, let's say it's 20% income tax, you lose $1,000. That means every dollar has been taxed at 20%. So for every dollar you made, 20 cents was taken out for taxes, and now you get all the money basically washed, like in the tax machine, it was washed, and so every dollar now should not be allowed to be taxed. There should be no other taxes then. However, every single dollar you receive back, so now you get $4,000, now you're going to pay your gas tax and your sales tax and your property tax and death and inheritance tax, capital gains tax, all the different taxes that we're going to sit here and pay. And so to me, I look at that and go, that is double taxation. You know how you make things fair? You get rid of income tax altogether. Because then there's nowhere to hide on taxes at that point. Everybody is equal. So whether you make $1,000 or $1 million or $10 million, every time you spend $1 on certain goods and services, you're going to have sales tax. You're going to have your gas tax. But every dollar only gets taxed once, and it is even across the entire board. So nobody gets to say that something is unfair or any of the other things. The other part that will do, because then people sit there and go, well, the government needs to make more money. It's going to cut into the government's budget. Honestly, the government's budget needs to be cut. The government needs to be put back in check. They are spending money wildly without any concern of how to actually pay for it. They are living on credit. And unfortunately, it is an idea that this government has gotten really, really comfortable with, is just keep using our credit card. It'll be fine. What that does is that sends a message to the people that they represent. If the government doesn't care about debt, why should I care about debt? And that is also why credit card debt in America is through the roof. Debt in general in America is through the roof. Because nobody cares about debt. Nobody wants to talk about debt. Debt is something that's a negative conversation, and so nobody wants to have that conversation. But the conversation's looming in the background. It's coming. Like, no matter what, it's coming your way, and it's coming hard. So the other side of getting rid of income tax, what that also does is instead of the $4,000 you take home, now you have $5,000 that you get to take home. That's an extra $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. Let's say you could increase the possible spending of a household by 20%, 20 extra percent of that they would have 20% extra money. They're going to buy more things. By buying more things, you create more businesses, because if and I'm just going to give you a very crude example. Let's say there's $1 trillion in consumer spending in California, right? And let's say there's 100,000 businesses to cover that $1 trillion worth of spending, whether it's food or manufacturing or goods or services, whatever the case may be. You have 100,000 businesses for $1 trillion. If you increase that $1 trillion by another $200 billion, 20 extra percent, then you're going to need 20 extra percent businesses to handle it, or 20 extra percent workforce to handle it. So by giving people more money, it will create more businesses, which in turn creates more jobs. It's really not difficult, and I find it comical that people don't get that when your government just printed trillions of dollars to stimulate your economy. How'd they do it? They gave you the money. And they didn't give you all the money by any stretch of the imagination, which is also another big issue that I will go down on another separate video, that it's insane that we printed trillions of dollars and a lot of the money went other places, other countries. We're footing the bill for government spending that is just out of control. But that's another time. But taxes is something that I genuinely believe. You are being double taxed on all your money, and it needs to go away on a state and federal level, to be honest. And if that means that there's gaps and things like that, and there's no way to reconcile the budget, then fine, you can move up other taxes. You can move up sales tax by 2%, because you're no longer getting 20% off the top. Sales tax going up by 2%, gas tax or whatever the case may be, going up a little bit, still makes it even across the board. There would be no way that you could complain that the rich are not paying their fair share, because now there's no loopholes. Whatever you buy, you get taxed at. And so it's an easy fix. I just don't really see how people don't understand that, and how your government doesn't see it.